Hello, my name is Jin, and today I'll be talking about my diorama progress in this milestone presentation. My original idea was revolving around the theme of suicide. I aimed to create a link between two objects based on the emotions of their use, overlapping the image of a knife stabbing to kill with a key inserting to open. Through this connection, the concept was to give values to the objects by not using them for their purpose. For example, if it's not opening anything, a key has no meaning for it. If a knife is idle, it does not have purpose unless it's wielded. By giving a new purpose to their unusedness, I aim to replicate my experience of not making a choice through this diorama, and send a message that no matter how tempting it is, it's better to put the thoughts aside and proceed with life. While the theme was heavily related to the reason why I chose the model, it was difficult to apply the concept to the model, and it made the whole diorama feel overly literary. Therefore, I decided to change and simplify the concept to a visual representation of the duality between death and life. To suit the new concept, I've changed the structure of the diorama from an open background to an enclosed space revolving around the model. As I scrapped the key element, the door was removed and I added a mirror instead to use a reflecting element to capture both sides in one model. I made some slight adjustments to the texture imagery as well for the knife model. The thorny vines represent life and the constant struggles coming from it. I've taken inspiration from the biblical symbolism, and while it's mostly used for negative terms, it is often perceived as a necessary hardship before bearing results, which are represented through the roses. The imagery is also related to a tree, which is commonly used as a symbol for life. Previously, birds on wings were the symbols for the freedom of death, but I thought the imagery wasn't strong enough and I decided to change the symbol to white butterflies to represent death and its peacefulness. In some countries, white butterflies are often interpreted to have a role regarding death, as either a messenger or the spirits of the past ones to comfort those who are in mourning. The imagery of a butterfly also relates to the botanical symbol of flowers and vines, and their relationship is similar to the one of life and death. Just like how butterflies gently land on plants, death softly lays itself over life. After refining my idea, I first discarded additional changes to the model of the knife and created a prototype design for the knife's texture. I first colored the left side white and death side black, then coated it with a shattered slash stained glass style using the opposing color to create a strong contrast. Due to sickness, I wasn't able to fully design the black side, but I liked the way it was going for the visuals. After creating the prototype for the texture, I've started making changes for the surrounding environment. Previously, the enclosing environment was just a spherical space with some models decorating it, but I thought it would be better to have a theme for the background as well, since since my models are based on Gothic and Art Nouveau movements. I decided to apply a cathedral-like structure for the background and started creating a basic layout for it before receiving feedback in class. The feedback mostly consisted of complimenting the mirror concept and how having a separate space inside the mirror adds more dimension and depth to the scene. There were some further compliments on the design of the knife and how it looked cool. One of the feedback commented that they liked how the two dimensions have two different designs, each presenting a different theme. There wasn't as much negative feedback as I hoped, just most of them suggesting to add a shining effect for the blade's texture, which was already in plan. Some suggested having a translucent plane for the mirror instead of leaving it empty, which I agreed and decided to do so. There was one feedback which proposed having the knife stabbing and breaking through the mirror, and while I thought it would look cool, that would put off the balance between the two sides, so I will not be implementing it in my model. After receiving the feedback and self-critiquing, I further refined the design for the knife's blade. Previously, it was hard to distinguish the details of the blade, so I increased the size and patterns of the background fragments, so the images would be more visible. Once it was finished, I created a bump map to add the shiny effect on the blade, and I was pretty satisfied with the result. However, the reflecting lights were hardly visible on the white side. I tried making the bump map darker, but it made no difference and will need further experimentation. Moreover, I was planning to do a ethereal background to minimize modeling and use texture for the most of the designings, but I like the imagery of the vines covering the ceiling and might include some extra models to enhance the environment. The previous models of the death side was a gate over clouds, which was kind of childish, and I wanted to have a different subject to decorate it, although I couldn't come up with a suitable replacement for it. Thankfully, during the paired critics session, my pair suggested to just use the butterflies for the death side, and I agreed to it and decided to model simple glass butterflies to decorate the outer ceiling. My future goals for this model are further experimenting with the bump map, improving design for the mirror and adding a plane for it, creating design models and textures for the cathedral and decorations, creating the best light settings and presenting the reflecting lights on the knife. Thank you.